Testing.
Eddie, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, great. We can hear you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
higher than all forms of cancer combined. Heart disease occurs when the arteries leading to the heart become clogged. It affects all ages, all genders, and ethnicities. Risk factors include high cholesterol, high blood pressure, smoking, diabetes, and excessive alcohol use. American Heart Month was established by President Lyndon B. Johnson under Presidential Proclamation 3566 in December of 1963, 10 days after Congress issued a joint resolution requesting the President to issue the annual proclamation. American Heart Month is observed to raise awareness on the importance of a healthy heart, encourage healthy habits to help reduce the risk of heart disease. Red flags such as high blood pressure should be taken seriously, and healthy habits should be adopted, like getting 30 minutes of exercise every day and talking with your doctor to develop healthy eating habits to promote a healthy heart. The first Friday in February was National Wear Red Day in the United States, which fell on Friday, February 3rd, 2023. The city of Deerfield Beach urges the community to join the battle against heart disease. So now, therefore, I, Bill Gansey, the mayor of the city of Deerfield Beach, Florida, in recognition, do hereby proclaim February 2023 as American Heart Month. Chandra Robertson, I know you're here. Would you like to accept this?
Thank you. On behalf of the American Heart Association, I'd like to thank the city of Deerfield Beach for this proclamation and for your just appreciation for health and well-being throughout the city of Deerfield Beach. Also like to thank you all for being advocates of the mission of the American Heart Association, which is to give wellness force for a world of longer and healthier lives. So thank you all so much. It's an honor.
Thank you so much, Ms. Robertson. We have a presentation or a tactical presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Tonight I have with me the Smart Growth Partnership. They awarded the city an award for the B Tactical improvements. I'm going to turn it over to them so they can tell you a little bit about what the Smart Growth Partnership is about and a little bit about what the award to the city was for. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, congratulations to the city of Deerfield Beach. Jesus Fuentes and I, Nadia Locker, here representing the Smart Growth Partnership to award you all the Smart Growth Partnership Award. It's a Smart Growth Excellence Award for the B Tactical Make Broward Better to Tedder Third Avenue project. And just a couple of weeks ago, Eric and Priscilla, your own, attended our annual event, received the award on behalf of the city, and made a presentation to a group of folks who were very interested. We got a lot of positive feedback on the project. Smart Growth Partnership is the intent of our award is to recognize projects, policies, and other types of efforts by public and nonprofit and private industry where they are embodying the Smart Growth principles. And we're very pleased for a project like this that can be replicated in other communities. So it is a model for others. Jesus and his family actually participated in the project, painted some of your fish. And so we're very proud. This isn't the first time I've been here. Let's see, I think it was 2014. I was here recognizing the city. Smart Growth Partnership was recognizing the city for the Complete Streets guidelines back in the early days of Complete Streets. So you guys are very forward thinking, very progressive, and we really appreciate your leadership in South Florida and assisting us with creating smart growth projects. So with that, we want to congratulate you and present this award.
Speech.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate that. Thank you so
Speech,
much. Eric? Priscilla?
Okay.
I will say about this project, what's wonderful about it is it gives us the opportunity to do a test run on a area and find out what could possibly work when we have a problem. It's unique. We were one of the first in Broward County to do it. We're very proud of that, but we're really proud of our staff for this. So thank you so much. Eric?
No, just thank you, and thank you to this organization for recognizing us. I believe this is the third time we've been recognized by an outside agency for this project, which is just fantastic that other people in South Florida are seeing what this project did. And, I can only just say that today in our transportation working group meeting, which is a group of different departments that get together to discuss transportation projects, we actually had conversations with BSO today about how to make improvements to this road. And the conversation is really, all right, we have solved issues. Now we've created new issues. And that's the point of the temporary. How do you make that before you do it where it's permanent? And that's the exciting thing. So we can resolve issues while it's temporary before it becomes permanent. That was the exciting part about this program. And it's nice that we're being recognized. So thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
First of all, I want, myself and a couple of the other members of the DIAS were out there painting as well. So I really appreciate everybody's help. That is the border between districts 1 and 2. And it really brought the community together. We really appreciate it. And like Eric said, it's a short-term fix, but it shows us what we can do. That was a very hazardous road, as most of you know. And I believe it was the first project in Broward County, not one of them, but the first project in Broward County. And I wish I had anything to do with that, but that's the staff here that we have in Deerfield Beach. So I want to thank them personally because I think that road has helped out a lot.
We are now at the public comment portion of tonight's agenda. Persons addressing the commission shall state his or her name and address and may speak for 3 minutes unless extended for 1 additional minute by the mayor. This is the time for public comment on items that are not on tonight's agenda. If you have public comment on an item that's on tonight's agenda, the time to raise your comment is after the title is read into the record and the public comment period is open for that item. As a reminder, no comment shall be made related to the personal life or personal qualities of any person, and no language which would offend persons of ordinary sensibility shall be permitted.
Thank you. Mr. Lou?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager. My name is Michael Lubin, 16 Little Harbor Way in Deerfield Beach. Construction noise is rampant in Little Harbor. It's been going on many years, and it'll continue on for at least another year or so. I just wish to thank the Commission and the Mayor for the wonderful ambiance when my wife and I eat out at about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, 6:30. We have the pleasure of hearing construction noise all evening until 7 o'clock. We thought about playing some Mozart or Brahms or even some Jerry Mulligan or Clark Terry, but I think the construction noise is a lot more pleasant at this stage of the game. Perhaps speaking to our neighbors who have beyond their wits end about hearing noise all day for 12 hours from 7 in the morning till 7 at night on Monday through Friday, and from Saturday till 9 o'clock until 5 o'clock, we would like a little bit of downtime. Perhaps maybe starting at 8 o'clock in the morning and finishing at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday through Friday, and perhaps on Saturday, which everybody is home from school, and a family time. We also have our grandsons many times during the weekend from 9 o'clock till 3 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock. Something to consider. We do pay taxes here. We do shop here. We do volunteer here. I know that contractors, they don't really live in Deerfield. They go elsewhere to shop. They make their money and they leave. They'll make their money anyway, regardless of what kind of hours you have construction time in the city. It's not about finishing up as fast as you can. It's not like playing a football game in 8 innings, 8 quarters instead of 4. It's about quality of life along the way. A little downtime wouldn't hurt. We would appreciate considering that and thinking about changing the hours. Deerfield isn't just a pretty beach, it's to the neighbors and to the residents of Deerfield. On a different note, if I may, one of the best hidden Genders is our education system here at Deerfield. Middle school and the high school, they have a pre-IB program and an IB program with those strenuous academic oriented values. Next minute, please.
Yes,
Thank you.
even though the time was not to go ahead.
Those students could go anywhere they wish to follow. Our son went to Harvard Ivy League School, going to Deerfield Beach High School in the IB program. Both programs are excellent. The teachers are outstanding. People could pay $20,000, $30,000 for the private, but they will not get a better education than they will at the middle school and high school. I also would like to say that, there we go. I also, good. I also like to say at the middle school, we are the only school who does equine assisted therapy, horseback riding for our special needs students, the only school in the county. It's free to our students through Kiwanis and Rotary. It's a wonderful opportunity for our special needs kids to get self-esteem and balance amongst other skills as well. And on one more note, I would like to thank the mayor and the commission for the academic awards for high school excellence on graduation, funding 2 academic scholarships, one for $2,000 and one for $1,500. That is huge to our 2 city residents in high school graduating. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Daniel Shanetsky, 34 Keswick B. First of all, I had been involved in the Northeast Third Make Broward Better project. And then when they had it in December 21, I still have the blue paint on my shoes and I still can't get it out. Any suggestions would be helpful. They were nice shoes. I'm on the Deerfield Beach Cultural Committee. On January 28th, we had a Brazilian festival concert staged by Brazilian Voices. We had 200 plus people, all different citizens of Deerfield Beach. We had a large community of Brazilian families came to listen to the concert, and we got great feedback on it. So I want to say thank you to the city manager and the city commission for approving it. Thank you to the event staff and the park staff for doing a fantastic job. This was our first festival and we did great, the whole city. So thank you very much. I also want to bring last meeting, somebody had brought up about backup generators. I just did a little research. I just want to give a little input. Backup generators are very important. You know, they provide power in an emergency. Noise is measured in decimals. So a washing machine is 70 decimals. A leaf blower is 90 decimals. And I guess a siren is 120 decimals. Now, 3 main types of backup generators. The Genera Guardian line backup generator is 66 decimals. The Briggs Stratton generator is 64 decimals. And the Kohler Power System backup generator is 69 decimals. Now, I looked up Broward County noise ordinance, which I guess also includes Deerfield Beach. From 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., it's 60 decimals. And from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m., it's 55 decimals. And I guess if you break these noise ordinance, a ticket could be $114. Now, a proposal that maybe we could throw out, there are 3 ways of maybe absorbing the sound and lowering the decibel. First way is a sound absorbing enclosure. It protects the standby generator from weather and it would keep the noise down. So that's one way, a noise absorbing enclosure. An aftermarket soundproof barrier boxes are also available for standby generators. The second way would be acoustic barriers. And they're like a version of a freestanding movable version to a permanent solution. So they can keep the noise down as well. And the third way it's called an isolation mount. Basically place a generator on an isolation mount. Yes, sir, thank you. It's made of a rubber type padding and it can also help keep vibrations from the generator from reaching other places. So these are 3 ways of maybe we can educate people who have backup generators to bring down the sound. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have Katie Freitag online.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Commissioners. Katie Freitag, 418 Southeast Second Street. My comment is along the same lines as the other resident, Sir, Mr. Michael Lubin, regarding the hours of construction. Something to take into consideration is there are many, many members of our city, many residents in our city that live in condos that have HOAs. And those condos and those HOAs do not allow you to have construction from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. They do not allow you to have construction on Saturdays from 7 till 5. Those locations should not be considered when pulling together any kind of a survey in regards to construction hours. Either that, or maybe we should all go the way of all of these HOAs inside the pearly gates and run the hours from 9 till 4 like all the other HOAs do. Maybe that's a consideration. I know it's far-fetched. I know it's strong, but if those of us that live in homes have to put up with the construction and the hours and things, and maybe everybody in the city should. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Mr. Nolan?
My name is Howard Nolan, 325 Southeast Third Terrace. I'm here tonight representing a friend who can no longer be here. I got hired in the Deerfield Fire Department in 1985. In 1985, a Deerfield police officer got hired almost the same date I did, John Chikarotis. He, in 1990, converted over to the Broward Sheriff's Office and worked until he came down with pancreatic cancer and it killed him. I walk the beach all the time. I mentioned it to 3 or 4 people around the city over the course of the years. And I would like to see if we could somehow, with the commission's blessings and the city manager and the city attorney, somehow maybe make street signs with his name on them. And to go from the pier to Southeast 4th Street. Walking up there, it would take 6 signs to honor him. John probably worked up there for 20 of his 35 years. He was the mayor of the beach. You know, he spent a lot of time in the fire station. I was up there for almost 12 years in the fire station while he was up there on the beach, riding his bike and walking and driving his car. There's a lot of people in the city that deserve things, but the way John was up there, everybody in every business knew his name. Everybody in every business knew what he did. He knew every name of every establishment, every motel, every hotel. And if anything needed to be done up there, he went and saw John. And unfortunately, at 59, he died. He came down with pancreatic cancer and ended up dying. He was still employed till the day he died. And I ended up retiring a couple years early. I worked for 34 years. He was on the books with the Broward Sheriff's Office for 35 years. And, you know, with, like I say, with the commission's blessing, and I'd like to find out what the process is or what the procedure is to maybe start in that direction to make a few street signs for John Chikarotis.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public?
I had a,
Sorry, name and address. For the
oh, I'm sorry. William Gelster at 1102 Little Harbor Drive. Okay, last Friday I had a very sad situation occur. I have guests from out of state, and we were talking, and all of a sudden, screaming and yelling, just horrible, from number 6 Little Harbor Way, which is an Airbnb. I sat back, I can't believe it, I'm kind of embarrassed. But it went on and on. Finally, I went out on the porch and I looked and I said, I can see lights, I can hear them and see them, but wow, this is terrible. I came back in, thought, all right, it's gotta quit. After about 15 minutes of this, I said, that's it. I'll do what I was told to do, call. So I called the non-emergency. Then after that, I walked back in the door and I went out and I said, I'm gonna walk out and see what's happening around the corner. So I went to the street corner and I sat there, and then I went across the bridge, walked down that street, came back, and finally I got back out on Hillsborough, and then the police. And there were 2 cars, and then a third one came in right after that. I'm at the entrance, pretty soon I just see them standing there. And by the way, as I was walking toward Hillsborough, the noise almost went to a nothing. But I said, well, it happened, I reported it. So I'm on Hillsborough, I start walking in and the guy says, did you report it? And I said, I absolutely did. And he said, well, there's nothing here. And I said, huh? I said, I can understand that, but they were making the noise. He goes, well, I talked to a woman and she said she just dropped her 2 kids off. And I said, there's nobody that's come back or left in the last 15 to 20 minutes. So nobody just dropped off. And he goes, well, there's nothing here. We can't do anything. So I can tell you that I looked at him and I said, I can tell you it was there. And he said, look, there's people that are trying to discredit this place. And I thought, are you calling me a liar? He goes, no. And I said, well, it sure sounds like it to me. Now, I'm not anti-police. I love it. I love them. And I can tell you, that was a sad situation for him to make a statement like that. He said, well, if you had a recording or a tape. And I said, you mean I've got to go get a videotape in order to call the police? He said, well, you should have called as soon as they made any noise. And I thought, I make noise. Maybe they're only out there for a half a minute and then they go in. I said, what do you do? So I'm gonna say I was very displeased with it. I have the names of the police that were there. I went into the police department today to get a copy of the case report. And they said, there's only notes. By the way, VAP Tiny or something, Tyrant is the officer that was in the sheriff's department today. He said, I was the 3rd officer on duty there. And he never said really anything, but the other 2 did. So my question to you now is, I feel embarrassed that if I call, I told those guys, I can't keep them yelling while you come. It was 15, 20 minutes ago that they were making a scene, and it was not just a minute or 2. It was going on for around 15, 20 minutes. Now, I can't be responsible that they shut up when the cops came. So what are you supposed to do? And I don't want to feel that I can't call them because they're reprimanding me. So that is the sad part. I want to make it clarify.
Thank you. I do have a question for you.
Go right ahead.
Okay. What are the officers supposed to do if they show up and there's nothing going on?
I told him I understand. I didn't need the reprimand. He's telling me, well, you should work it out with the owner. You should do
But
this.
knowing this, knowing that they showed up and there's no noise going on, it's limited to what they can do. I'm sure you understand.
I understand it. I told him I understand, but I didn't need the reprimand that he almost accused me of lying.
Agreed. And I'll have the
Making
chief talk to
discredit.
the chief sitting right back there. We'll have him talk to you about that. Please share your story.
It is.
Good. Thank you. Let's appreciate it.
Who's back there?
Chief, he's right back there. You need to come talk to him.
Hey, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Blair R. Brain Bracy. I live at 501 Northwest First Terrace in Alabama. Reason I'm up here is I want to first thank the mayor because I came up here last time I was up here and told about the hydrant. So that was Tuesday. Wednesday, I guess you reported to them Thursday. Early they was out there putting a new hydrant in. So but I wanted to say too that when that new boat ramp is down the street at the end down there now. And cars come flying through there like 40 miles an hour on that street. And you know, if the park is right there, the kids be running across the street going into the park. So Saturday, it was an accident there about 6 o'clock Saturday afternoon. A lady hit a cycle. So, I mean, it could have been a kid got here. So what I'm thinking is that between the last speed bump on the other side of the park to about middle ways down that road, it needs to be another speed bump.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Schisler 59 Old Harbor Way. Wanted to see if there was anything that the city could do relative to building codes that would restrict what's happening in Deerfield Beach today, where developers are building hotels in residential neighborhoods, masquerading as houses. You're seeing houses built that are 6, 8, 10 bedrooms, which allows 12, 14, 16 people to stay in as an Airbnb. The current lot coverage is 40%. It was changed back in 2017 or 18. That could go back to 35%. And if you could stop allowing the houses that are 3 stories tall to be built in town, I think that would help take care of the situation where we have hotels in residential neighborhoods. And current building codes allow new hotels to be built in residential neighborhoods, masquerading as houses. Hopefully something can be done about that. Also wanted to support Mike and his comments about restricting building hours. I lived in the middle of 3 houses being constructed for almost 5 years. It is brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And I would have been happy to have it go on a little bit longer if we had some quiet on Saturdays, have the projects get done earlier in the evenings and start later in the mornings.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public? No, I'm not seeing anyone. Go ahead and close it to the public. Please double check. See if there's anyone else. Okay, you can just wait one moment as I go through this. Okay. No problem. Go ahead, Mr. Parnas.
I live in a condominium. The building's over 40 years old. People buy an apartment, they rip out the old, reconstruct it. Building in our city and growing is a very important factor. All the people that are complaining about the noise, I have one question for you. How much more will it cost to put up a house if it takes a month longer if we restrict their hours? What will it do to our market when other cities don't have that restriction and additional cost for construction? I'd like somebody to do the research and come back with facts. Most of the people where I live in Century Village are retired. When construction goes on, they're home all day long, locked in their apartments because of their age or infirmities. And they have to put up with the noise. And that we have no different restrictions than the rest of the city. And people just have to grin and bear it. So I ask you, find out how much more a house would cost, or a building would cost, or a hotel would cost if it took 3 months longer because of the curtailing of the hours of construction. And then how many contractors would want to build here when they don't have those restrictions in other cities? You could be asking us to shut down the growth of the city. I'd like to see some facts before you ask us to remedy a situation that we're all facing with. Thank you.
Thank you. I will say this, construction noise has been addressed once by the city a few years ago based on Mr. Lubin's request. We're the most restrictive city in the area when it comes to construction hours, yet you want us to be more restrictive. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea to also limit what people can do and the size of their homes within their homes. The problem is not the homes that are being built. The problem is people, the state legislature allowing these Airbnbs and rental homes to run amok in our residential neighborhoods and completely limiting us on a local level to do anything about it. I am not going to change a construction rule to try to circumvent a problem that is created by someone choosing to use it in a different way. That makes no sense. Because for everybody else who wants to build a home, who doesn't want those same restrictions of their own private residence that they want to do, I'm not going to impose that on them because we have a problem that the state legislature refuses to address. Call up the governor, call up the state legislature, and get on them about this. Because they've stripped us from our ability to do anything on a local level. We have a system in place in which we have a registration that's required. Every rule that we can do, we have pushed it to the limit that we are allowed to do by the state. And if we go any further, we're basically breaking state law. Am I incorrect in that, city attorney?
No, Mayor.
Okay. Not changing construction rules to try to fix that problem. Anybody else wants to, go ahead. I'm not going to. I think it's short-sighted and I think it's going to hurt the redevelopment of this city, which is essential. We've already changed the hours once, and that's not enough. But look to Pompano, look to Boca, find out what their hours are and compare. Look at that's our neighbors. We're more restrictive than they are, and you want us to go even further. It's a mixed blessing for you who live in Little Harbor, in which there is so much of this reconstruction and redevelopment going on. Because you live in a gorgeous little pocket that now is not as much of a secret as it used to be. People want to come in and redevelop. You have very small, older Florida homes that are now being replaced with more modern ones on a frequent basis for millions of dollars. It is a mixed blessing. And I'm not sure exactly what the solution is. We can look into it a little bit more, but we've already made a change once. And you want us to be more restrictive, and it affects all of the city. And as far as someone to say that HOAs, I was a president of HOA for many years. Commissioner Drosky was also. I don't think either one of our HOAs had these made up construction hours that were just presented tonight. You might find some condos that have it. The HOA I lived in didn't have it. We followed by what the city rules are. I'm not going to make a blanket city rule that's going to stop us from redeveloping this entire city just to solve a small problem that we have in a very popular area right now. I don't think that's the right thing to do. There might be another solution. There might be a way to go about it. There's something we can look into. But I'm not so sure that what has been suggested is the right way to go. I do like the idea as far as the generators. We know that noise level is an issue, and so the solution, that's something that maybe staff can look into and find out that's something we can apply to the rules, because that is a quality of life issue that affects the entire city. And I think that's a common sense approach. So certainly that would be something we can look into. As far as traffic calming, what we do is when a neighborhood comes to us and say they want to add traffic calming in their neighborhood, we have them go around and get a petition, start them in the process, get people on board to make sure the neighborhood wants as opposed to one individual person doing it. We don't have the city just go in and put them in. We want to make sure we have neighborhood buy-in. So we can have staff talk to you and maybe start getting that ball rolling buy-in. So we can have staff talk to you and maybe start getting that ball rolling to do that if there's an issue there, for sure. I think that covers everything. As far as the feedback for the Brazilian Musical Festival, I didn't get a chance to attend. Everybody I know that did had a wonderful time. So it was a really good job done by staff and our cultural committee. So thank you very much. I think that's what we have.
Quick question for you. So if Little Harbor decided to have a formalized HOA, would they be able to restrict short-term rentals in that neighborhood?
So the state legislature and the state law preemption does not apply to HOA restrictions. They would have to form, they would have to form an
if
HOA.
Little Harbor made a decision to form a formalized HOA, they have an opportunity to circumvent some of these challenges that neighborhood is facing.
if they're able to organize and effectuate an HOA, yes. Just generally, every single person that would be part of the HOA would need to sign on, but yes.
Understood, but at least that neighborhood, there's a solution or a potential solution. I know most of our other neighborhoods, there aren't, but there is a possible potential solution because, as the mayor said earlier, it is out of our hands. So I'm just throwing that up there for the residents here who are of Little Harbor. Just an idea, just offering some solutions. Thank you.
Go ahead.
City attorney, would that apply to condos as well?
Yes, it's community associations, I think broadly. So HOAs, condominium associations, and their declaration of restrictive covenants that they record.
Are they also allowed to restrict hours of construction?
I believe so, yes. HOAs and condominiums have their own regulatory authority to go stricter if they wanted to than the city code.
Perfect. Thank you.
Are you ready for the next item, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay. We are now on consent board appointments. There's one board appointment on there, so I'll go ahead and read it into the record. Item number 3 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, appointing Lizbeth Weiner as a regular member of the Deerfield Beach Education Advisory Board to fulfill an unexpired term, providing for an effective date.
Is there anyone from the public here to comment on this item? I'm going to close it to the public.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion Commissioner Drosky, seconded by Commissioner Hudak, Vice Mayor Hudak. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Please. Chatter, please. Thank you. Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously.
We are now on consent agreements and expenditure requests. Items 4 through 8 are currently on consent.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public who'd like to comment on item 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8? Just raise your hand.
Mayor, if I may, I'd like to request that item number 7 be pulled. I have a recommended amendment to that item.
Okay. Poll number 7. Commissioner, any polls? Anywhere online? Anyone?
Number 5.
Number 5. Okay. 9. Okay, so 5, 7, and 9. Yeah, so that wouldn't be part of this. So we're looking for 4, 6, and 8 approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Hudak, second by Commissioner Parnas. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I'm sorry, Mayor, can we do a voice vote on or a roll call vote? There are expenditures on that.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hudak,
Yes.
Mayor Ginn.
Yes,
Item number,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Item number 5 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving an agreement with Great Lakes Dredge and Dock Company, LLC, for the town of Hillsborough Beach. And the town of Hillsborough Beach for the city's joint beach renourishment project, utilizing the terms of the City of Boca Raton's bid number 2023-06-FB and contract and the mandatory alternates provided for in the bid, and a total joint project sand placement amount not to exceed $4 million, providing for execution and effective date.
I just asked that this item be pulled, given the dollar amounts, that this should be considered separately, and just for the city manager, just to give a quick recap. This was on our agenda from the previous meeting, but just to give a quick recap as to what this item is and what we're voting for, and to give the public an opportunity to speak separately, so it's not on the consent. Just given the dollar amount, I think it's important that we do this one separately.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Drosky. This item, yes, was on the agenda for the last meeting, but was pulled in anticipation of execution of the we'll call it the parent contract between Boca and Great Lakes for the beach renourishment project. As of today, we still have not received the executed Boca contract with Great Lakes, but we've heard from both parties that execution and receipt of that is imminent, and we should have that by the end of this week. So all indications of that everything is well in terms of execution of the agreement with Boca Raton and Great Lakes. Again, this bid was solicited with Deerfield Beach and Hillsborough Beach in mind. The quantities and the areas of renourishment for both Deerfield and Hillsborough Beach were included in the original bid package. And we have had excellent conversation with Great Lakes and the town of Hillsborough Beach to enumerate the requirements of our settlement agreement with Hillsborough Beach, as well as payment terms with Great Lakes for both Hillsborough and Deerfield Beach. This is a maximum not to exceed that really includes the cost for both parties, but we know that this will be a lot less in terms of what the city will actually be on the hook for. We're in the range of about, I believe, 1 million to 1.2 million. And we do believe that we have the ability to even load those costs down the road with some state funding and grants that we are currently pursuing. So again, the project itself in terms of delivery will be a pipeline project, meaning that they will pump the sand from the Boca Ebb Shoal through Boca, Deerfield, and Hillsborough, place it on the beach. And although it is intrusive in the sense that we'll have a pipeline on the beach during the duration of the construction, we would also, it would be intrusive if we had the truck haul project that would be a more traditional method, or at least something that the city of Deerfield Beach is more used to, having truckload after truckload go down Ocean Way towards the end of the city limits right there at the Boca, the Hillsborough, Deerfield, Boca, and then dump the sand. And you got the various equipment pushing the sand around to get it into place. That said, we did go out for a bid on our own to see what a truck haul project would come in at. And we had I think it's a price of approximately 10 times, 22 times the amount of this project. So unfeasible from that perspective. I'd be happy to answer any more questions, Chad.
All your questions answered? Yeah, excellent. Item number 7. Anyone from the public here to comment on item number 5? Closest to the public.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Hudak, second by Commissioner Parnas. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Huda,
Yes.
Mayor Dion.
Yes.
Item number 7 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, amending the 2022-2023 schedule of City Commission meetings, providing for an effective date.
Thank you for allowing me to pull this item. In addition to what is actually the request here for the schedule change, which is moving the March 21st meeting to the 28th due to Broward Days. We also learned today, and we're able to meet as staff, of the budget hearing schedule for the county and the school board. And so, as you know, when we get to September, it usually interrupts our regular schedule for our budget hearings. In this case, it will affect our second budget hearing, which was originally scheduled for September 19th. And working with staff, we identified September 13th as a potential second budget hearing date. It complies with the statutory requirements, not only for us, but also avoiding the county and school boards meetings as well. So at my request, I would ask that the City Commission further amend item number 7 to include a change of September 19th to September 13th.
So that would be amended to what we have on here now?
It would be
in addition to?
Correct. Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public who would care to comment on this item? Okay. To approve.
Second.
Motion Vice Mayor Hudak, or excuse me, Commissioner Parnas, second by Vice Mayor Hudak. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
We are now on item number 9, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, adopting the city's 2023 state legislative agenda, providing for transmittal, implementation, and an effective date.
Thank you, Mayor. The comment was, that I just believe it to be an error on the part of staff. They referred to the, under the agenda. They said the city of Deerfield Beach, activation is also known as the Northeast Focal Point, and not use, Breakaway, Central Action.
Thanks. Commissioner Drosky? No, I'm sorry, I spoke previously. Is there anyone from the public who care to comment on this item? Can we make that amendment?
Absolutely.
Yes. Motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Preston, second by Commissioner Carnes.
That's as amended, correct?
As amended. You made the motion.
As amended.
Thank you. Okay, we have roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Huda,
Yes.
Mayor Gans.
Yes.
We now have comments by administration and legal. No comments from legal tonight. Turn it over to the city manager.
Thank you. First, just want to let the city commission know that on February 16th from 3 to 6 p.m., we have a career fair, happening at the Hillsborough Technology Center. We have almost a dozen businesses who will be there, as well as some community stakeholders. So really looking forward to that event. Economic Development did a great job of putting that together, and we hope for a great turnout. I know that individually, each one of you wants to probably announce your district meetings that are coming up, and not to steal your thunder, I do want to just indicate to the public that we have 4 district meetings coming up, and the purpose of those meetings are so that we can provide a bit of education to the residents of Deerfield Beach on a referendum item that they will have the opportunity to vote on March 14th. Even though that we are holding 4 distinct district meetings, it is meant to maximize the ability of residents to attend. By no means is any resident restricted from not attending a certain meeting if they cannot attend. And we will have virtual options available for some specific meetings. All of the information has been put out through social media, through press releases, various commissioners' newsletters, and it's on also on our calendar. So I encourage all residents to take the opportunity to educate themselves on this item that they will have the opportunity to vote on in the citywide election coming up on March 14th. And I want to just emphasize citywide election because since this is a referendum item, it does open up that March 14th election to all city residents.
Thank you.
We are now at comments by mayor and city commission.
Starting with District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of items. First of all, I've received a couple of comments. The last 2 commission meetings, the mayor made a statement with regard to the number of tickets that have been written in Deerfield Beach as opposed to other cities. And I want to remind the public that the city of Deerfield Beach does not get any revenue from those tickets. The only reason this dais is pushing DSO to administer the law is for the public safety. All of us know how fast individuals drive on Hillsborough Boulevard. All of us know that bridge on Hillsborough Boulevard is like the Dukes of Hazzards. A lot of times people flying over it. The restriction between the bicyclists and the pedestrians is not sufficient. And we are doing everything that we can to ensure the public safety. We did the Street Smarts program, which I think is absolutely wonderful, and that's definitely helped out, Northwest Third Street. But there are still a lot of areas that individuals take advantage of the speed. We've got a lot of opportunities. We talked a little bit about speed bumps, but enforcement and trying to change habits for the safety of our residents is the reason why we continually push BSO to enforce the speed limits and enforce driving habits in the city of Deerfield Beach. So I just wanted to remind the public, we're not doing this so we get into the squad car. We're doing this for the public safety. There are a lot of individuals that are on bicycles. We've got a lot of kids that walk to school, and the mayor and I, our children went to the same school at the same time, and a classmate was actually killed due to a speeding driver on Hillsborough Boulevard a couple of years ago. So it is something that's near and dear to my family as well as the mayor's. Code construction. I've continually asked the city manager and police chief to make sure that the current construction that's going on in the code over by the new brewery is adhering to their permits. And I do want to thank you for your response and going out there and making sure that happens. We've had some businesses that are very concerned that their patrons are being inconvenienced. The street is also being blocked off, and I understand that they have a permit in order to do that, to do the construction of the sidewalks. But I do appreciate your continued attention to that. I also have a couple of residents making sure that we have the adequate parking spaces in the back. That was an agreement when we approved the site plan. We also have, as we talked a little bit about, city manager talked about the citywide vote coming in on March 14th. Please remember, if you enjoy doing a mail-in vote, all of those requests expired on December 31st. So if you do want to do a mail-in option, please go to the Broward County Supervisor of Elections, and there's a link for you that you do have to reapply if you want to enjoy that convenience. We also have District 1 meeting on Saturday from 9 to 12. We have half-hour meetings. Anybody that needs to meet with myself on any challenges. And we already talked about our District 1 meeting. That will be on the 15th, right here at 7 o'clock. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Iceland. Mr. Preston.
Thank you, Mayor. There's going to be a district meeting for District 2 on the 22nd, and that's going to be in the Hillsborough Technology Center. And what we're going to be discussing is what the city manager alluded to just a few minutes ago, and that is the project over on Southwest 11th Way and 10th Street. There will be a presentation to give all of the available information, and so that you will know what's going on. This is not a district project. This is a city project. And I'd like to thank the selection committee going through that process, because I think they did a really good job. And I urge all of you to come out to each of these district meetings to know as much as you can about this project that was awarded to the MBA, and ask questions. So it's a good thing for our city. Again, it's not a district project, it's a city project. I'm very, very happy with, with this project. Last week, we had a ribbon cutting of an exercise station that's in Pastor Ford, many of our, it was absolutely outstanding. And I would encourage everyone from every district to just walk as a good exercise pathway, to utilize that. That exercise station is unique. It's unique in a lot of ways. But one is there are going to be 10 in our country. There's only one, there was one previous to the one that we have in Deerfield, and 2 now. So we're number 2 of 10. And you'll see some artwork on that exercise station. And that artwork was done by a young man that's a noted artist, Unfortunately, he passed away, but that artwork was sold for over $1 million. So we continue here in Deerfield Beach to have little things that happen that's really good for our city. And everybody needs to know that. And whether it is in District 1, or District 2, 3, or 4, everybody needs to know their city and get involved in it. I remember there was not too long ago, there was an event out at the in District 4 at the consortium, and I went over there. Oh, I'm reading one, sorry. And it was just, I walked in there, it's absolutely gorgeous. There's some things in our city that is just, we all should be very proud of. But I really want you to check out the exercise station. It was really, really well done. There was a challenge between PSO, police officers, and the firefighters. And I think you know who did best. So I would like that. So, but I'd like to thank Terry Wayner and staff. Just well done. Our staff did a very good job. We had multiple meetings about that important event. And we discussed it. Just go over there. I mean, they got everything. Push up, jumping on boxes. If you want to get in shape, all you gotta do is walk that linear park, stop right there at the exercise station, and things will start to change for you 2 ways, physically and mentally as well. That's it for me.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Preston, excuse me, Parnas.
Earlier tonight, we talked about if certain things that the state has done that restrict the cities and the counties from enacting laws. Example, we wanted to ban AR-15s in Deerfield Beach. Not pro or con. If we did, the citizens wanted it, the state says we can't do it. Listen to that. We can't control R&Bs. Now, if you don't like what the state's been doing to the cities and the counties by restricting them from protecting its citizens, you have to do something about it. That means getting a hold of your state legislature and telling them you're unhappy about it, or you're happy about it if that's the way you want to go. Right now, the big controversy is no permits, no background checks for anybody that wants to carry openly a gun. You think it's a bad idea? Let them know. You think it's a good idea? Let them know. Most police think it's a bad idea. I think it's a bad idea. Because no background check means a criminal that shouldn't and normally get a gun can now have one and put it on his hip, walk in here, or any church, any movie, any supermarket. Because there's no restrictions on open carry. None. That's just one issue. If you're against it, get on the phone, write letters, do something. Either way, however you feel. I'm not telling you how to feel. That's up to you. Same thing with the R&Bs. We hear complaints day in, day out. We can't do anything. You can at the ballot box. What are elected officials most afraid of? Annoying people to a point where they'll kick them out of office or won't re-elect them. Because their first job is to get re-elected. So you're being active, one way or another, can help us protect you. We can only do what the state allows us to do. Things we used to be able to do no longer can. Like R&Bs. Hands up. We like tourists like it. Too bad. They ruin neighborhoods, so what? Comes from the state legislature. And people blame the city. We cannot do things the state says we cannot do. And only you, the public, can change that. We can't, because we're only 5 people. You're almost 90,000 here in the city. your voice will count a lot more than ours. So if there's an issue that really bothers you, like R&Ds, do something. Do something positive. Write the governor, write the state legislator, tell them how you feel. One way or another, whether you're for it or against it. As far as District 3 is concerned, we're having a meeting on the 24th in Century Village, District 3. There are problems that need to be solved. My office that I have in the village is open first and third Monday of every month from 9 to noon in the main clubhouse. People come to me with their problems or advice relating to the city, and I'm there to help them. I think it's an important role for commissioners to play, to have meetings. So we do. We up here do what we can to help the citizens within the law and what we feel is the best interest of the city overall. This project that we're talking about, that we all voted for, we think it's a home run. Why? We've had a piece of vacant land for 25 years. The guy that leased it condos for 25 years is going to do something. He's going to do something with the university because there were very strict restrictions what could go there as public land. So we receive no taxes. Nobody's employed on that property. It's vacant for 25 years. We have a chance to put a Marriott hotel with 120 rooms, a hospital, a convention center, and maybe some restaurants, and a hospital, and a residence for the employees of the hospital. And what will happen? Not only will we receive a lot of money, 6.3 million upfront in cash, 7 million in community improvements, but taxes every year and jobs. It's a home run. So we're asking you to vote yes, because we all voted yes up here. We think it's good for the city. It's not my district. I don't think in terms of my district. I think in terms of the whole city, as we all do here. What's good for the city? This is good for the city. Vacant land doesn't produce money to keep your taxes down. Think about it, 13 million in between company improvements and cash. My God, that's more police maybe, fire engines, fire station. Better services without raising their taxes. And giving the city an income year in and year out. And the people that are employed, they will spend money in the city. Anybody can tell me what they think is wrong with that. I'll be happy to listen. But my knowledge, being here for 6 years so far, this is a home run for Deerfield Beach. So we're asking you, or I am, vote yes when you get your ballot. By the way, you can call the supervisor of elections if you don't have a computer and say, I want to check on my registration, because I vote by mail. And they'll say, give me your name, your date of birth, and the last four of your social security number. And they go, oh, you're good to now until 2024. Thank you for calling. And I got my absentee ballot yesterday. So all you got to do is pick, if you don't want to go on the computer, pick up your phone, call the supervisor of elections, tell the operator you want to check on your registration. They'll connect you and it's done in 5 minutes. So that's how I did. That's all I have for District 3.
Thank you, District 4.
Thank you, Mayor. To pick up on the sale of the Southwest 10th Street parcel, I'm first out of the chute. On Monday, February 13th at 7:00 p.m. is my community meeting. It will be here at City Hall. It was originally scheduled for Constitution Park, but due to a scheduling snafu, we had to move it here to City Hall, which is fine. It gives me a remote option that we did not have at Constitution Park for people that want to attend by Zoom that evening. I would ask the city manager to please have staff put my colleagues' meetings on my calendar as well. Commissioner Hudax is on my calendar, but I don't see Vice Mayor Hudak. I don't see Commissioner Preston's or Commissioner Parnas's online. Just because I'm first out of the chute, if any of my residents miss the meeting or do not have the opportunity to attend, I want to make sure that they have the opportunity to at least listen or attend one of my fellow colleagues' meetings. Just because it's my district doesn't mean they can't attend somebody else's meeting if that's more convenient for them. So I want to give everyone the option to learn as much as they can before placing their vote on March 14th. Secondly, this Saturday, February 11, from 8 to noon at Fire Station 66, which is the fire station on Powerline Road underneath the water tower. There is a free shred event for residents in Deerfield Beach. That's always very well attended because Century Village comes out, as well as the neighborhoods out west. There's always a line, so that's why it's from 8 to noon for 4 hours, because it will be busy that entire time. It's always a good event and very crowded, so come out on this Saturday, February 11, again from 8 to noon. And then last, but certainly not least, moment of personal privilege, I have a date for all of my colleagues and city staff, June 17. We finally came up with a date with the Broward League of Cities. That will be the installation dinner for me as president of the Broward League of Cities. So attendance is mandatory. I expect all staff there. If not, HR will be notified. We'll talk about that.
Oh,
later.
okay.
So that's for guests.
June, President of Broward League of Cities.
June 17th, that is a Saturday, and it'll be in Margaritaville as it has for the last umpteen years, yes, so.
Bring an alternate driver.
Thank you.
And that's all that I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Mayor touched on something, and yeah, somebody who came back to me with the Sun Sentinel got a kick out of my Hacienda Village reference. Those of you who don't know, there's notorious speed trap on the town that doesn't exist. It was more like a speed bump as opposed to a town. But they also found out the police chief, I think the mayor, and everybody else involved basically pocketed all the money they got for all the ridiculous tickets they wrote. So the comparison is, at least you knew, if you grew up down here in South Florida, like I did, you knew what the Hacienda Village was, you knew where it was, and you made sure you find your P's and Q's and go through it. I would like to see that here in Deerfield Beach. It is not about money. It's absolutely 100% about public safety. Up in my office, there's a picture of Tyus Howell, 19 years old in 2019. She was in a Tesla pulling into Deer Creek, and a young man at a high rate of speed hit her in a BMW, tore the Tesla in half. The BMW traveled 700 yards before it burst into flames. The young man was just sentenced to 15 years in prison just a month or two ago. She was 19 years old. She went to school. She was the same age as my daughters at the time. We had a fatality accident 6 days ago in the city of Deerfield Beach on a motorcycle. We had a DUI fatality the first week of December in the city of Deerfield Beach. January 26th, we had a person on a scooter get killed. Boca Raton teenager was killed on August 20th of last year in the city of Deerfield Beach. There's an issue that we have here. Now, part of the problem we have is the design of our roads. Hillsborough, certainly towards the west, is a heck of a straightaway with a lot of long gaps between the lights. And I see it every single day. And I am tired of us being in the paper for another traffic fatality. Now, look, the stupidity of DUIs, that is not something that the design of a road can prevent. Someone driving 100 and something miles an hour drunk down the road cannot. But having more of a police presence and doing what we can and making it known out there that this is not something that we're going to stand for needs to continue to happen. I will bring it up every single meeting until I'm out of office, that we need to do more and more and more to prevent these fatalities that are happening in our city. It makes me sick. I have a permanent reminder up there in my office, and it is my vow to make sure that I bring up every meeting, whatever we can do to slow people down and make this city safe and our streets safe. I'm gonna keep doing it. So I hope that, you want to call us out, see the village too, I'm good with that. Just make sure it's for the right reason, that's to protect the public, and no other reason. Speaking of protecting the public, I want to make sure that we are increasing our patrols in the Pioneer Park area. I know there was a reported issue of somebody using drugs in the bathroom. I don't believe, put it this way, if your first action is not to call the police and your action is to post it on Facebook, I've got to question whether that really happened. But regardless, we need to make sure that our bathrooms are being patrolled, the area is being controlled, and make sure that that park is as safe as we expect it to be, located directly across the BSO substation, or headquarters, I should say. So let's make sure that we're doing that. I know the police responded immediately after the post was seen. They ran into a couple of the homeless people that were reportedly, and they were not in the condition that was reported online. But again, I don't believe anything you read online. So if you see an issue, I encourage you to call the police, even if you have an issue in which they come out and the thing has been resolved. And if an officer behaves in a way they shouldn't, please let us know. But I encourage you to continue to call the police. If you see something, say something, because it is important. I believe that's all we have. I will say an early congratulations, Commissioner Drosky, the Broward League of Cities being president of that. That is outstanding. I don't think we've had that since Quinn Clark Creed. So that's fantastic. Good job. So congratulations. With that's all I have.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.